Hey everyone. So I'm doing a double live here. I'm doing one on YouTube and Instagram tonight. See if this works. So I got two phones going. So I wanted to just do a Q&A today. I wanted to give everybody an update on what's really been working for me with regard to managing my blood sugar, and more importantly, for me anyway, a big issue that I have is overcoming my junk food addiction, my sweet tooth and all of that stuff. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and then I'm going to do some Q&A. So for me, what's really been working to avoid cravings is to make sure the first meal that I get each day has a sufficient amount of fiber, and I like to use vegetable fiber. So vegetables, the key for me is vegetables, and particularly cruciferous vegetables. So what I do is I make a big batch of roasted broccoli or cauliflower, and I put it in the fridge. And then I'm getting calls coming in, sorry. And then what I do is I eat those vegetables first thing in the morning, and I'll have some protein with it, like some eggs or something like that. And I make sure that that's my first meal of the day. For the rest of the day, I feel great, and I don't feel like I have the sugar cravings that I would normally have, especially if I eat a high carbohydrate breakfast. So for me, that first meal of the day is really, really crucial to set a tone for the rest of the day. If I eat junk food in the morning, the rest of the day is shot. And it has to do a lot with your blood sugar, because once you start on that roller coaster where your blood sugar level goes up, your insulin spikes to bring that sugar down, and then you feel like you've got a rebound low blood sugar, and then you feel like you're out of energy, you want more, and it just continues on this roller coaster all day. So the key for me is to have this high fiber and high protein breakfast. That is really, really working for me. And if you guys haven't tried it, I encourage you to do it. I like cruciferous vegetables. Those are probably the best foods to do that with. They're high in fiber, they're nutrient dense, and they're low in calories. So, and they really fill you up, they satiate you, and they slow down that digestion process. Having that for the first meal of the day is a real game changer for me. And I find that if you make a big batch of this, like cauliflower or broccoli or Brussels sprouts, whatever one you like, put it in the fridge. I roast mine in the oven with a little bit of olive oil and some seasoning. I put on some garlic powder and some chili flakes, but you can use any of the seasonings that you like. Put it in the fridge, make a big batch of it, so there's about 10 servings. Put it in the fridge. Every time you want to have a meal, have a serving of this broccoli or these cruciferous vegetables first, and that will really tame your hunger and your sugar cravings. I find it really, really works, and I'm actually losing weight because of it. Energy is better, more sustained energy throughout the day, and I feel satiated for the majority of the day when I eat this way. So it's really, really working for me. If you guys haven't tried that, especially for your first meal of the day, I really encourage you to give it a shot. So I'm going to take some questions to see if there's anything going on here, anything you guys want to know. Oh no, it says you can't hear me. Oh no. That sucks. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Sir, are you type 1 or type 2? I am not diabetic. I do this because I have a lot of diabetes in my family, so I'm predisposed to it genetically. And I want to try and avoid it. So I started managing my blood sugar, monitoring my blood sugar over a year ago, and it has made a huge difference in my life. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. So if you guys can't hear me on Instagram, try logging out and then back in again. I got a phone call while this was going, and that's what's happening. Okay, great. So, yeah, I was insulin resistant before. I had some pretty severe symptoms year after year. So I'm 52 now. Year after year, since I was about 48 or 49, I started getting these symptoms. The worst symptom that I had was I was feeling tired all the time. each year that went by, I was getting lazier and lazier, more tired, just low energy, lack of kind of enthusiasm, and just difficult. It was hard to get things done, to be honest, especially when I ate the junk food. And I've eaten junk food the majority of my life. I have a real sweet tooth, and I was raised with junk food, and it's hard to shake. So I realized that at my age, I need to really start being proactive with my health. And I did that over a year ago. And I am so thankful that I did it, because my life has really turned around, and I really feel a lot better than I did when I first started this. And a lot of this for me is monitoring my blood sugar. Once I started doing that, I realized what was actually happening. Instead of guessing, oh, is this food good for me? What's it doing to my blood sugar? You can only guess until you start taking your blood sugar. And when I started doing that, that's when things started to change. Okay. Have I had my insulin tested? I had it tested recently. I didn't have it tested in the beginning. My doctor didn't send me for that test. He did my A1C, and he did not test for my insulin. But I had it tested recently, and it's not bad. But I don't know what it was when I first started. Yeah, I love sweets too. It's my weakness. That's the one addiction that I have. I don't drink much. I don't do any drugs or anything like that. But sweets, especially like baked goods, wow, that's my weakness. What do you think of Ozempic? Well, I'm not a doctor, but I've been reading a lot about it, and apparently some people are getting some really good results from it. It really curbs your appetite. But I've also heard some nightmare stories about how it can paralyze your stomach and things like that. I don't know. I think if I had some severe issues that I couldn't address with lifestyle changes, I would probably give it a try under doctor supervision, obviously. But I always like to try the holistic approach first. I truly believe personally. Oh boy. Can you guys hear me now? I keep getting phone calls. I gotta remember to put my phones on. Can you guys hear me? Okay, thank you. So yeah, so with regard to the Ozempic, I always try to do things naturally first. I truly believe that diet really has a lot to do with this stuff. So I think diet is the cause for many people. Just all the highly processed carbohydrates that we're eating, it's really doing a number on our system. And I know firsthand, I was just getting worse and worse every year, more and more symptoms every year. So if you can stop eating, or it's really hard to stop eating all this junk food, but if you can taper that down and start increasing your whole food content, reduce those highly refined carbohydrates, those processed foods, increase your vegetables, especially the above ground, high fiber and low carbohydrate or low starch vegetables, like cruciferous vegetables, are the best. If you can do that, you're really gonna affect change, and that is the first line of defense for me. If you can't do that, or if you can't stick with it, or if you can only do it a little bit and you still require medication, go see your doctor, and they'll tell you if that Ozempic is right for you. But I do know that it does curb your appetite significantly, and a lot of people are getting some good results with it. And I have also heard some nightmare stories about it too. So if you're thinking about it, talk to your doctor. But I like to be natural first and address the problem. I think if you take any medication and you continue to eat the junk food, you're only prolonging the inevitable. And when I see people who are following that mindset, where they just take medications and they're not addressing the real cause, which is the food that they're eating, it's usually, the way it usually goes is they end up having to take more and more medication higher doses. They max out on the dose, and then the doctor has to use another form of medication to add on to it. And then they're stacking these medications, and it doesn't solve the problem. And inevitably, it's a slippery slope into all these complications that come with type 2 diabetes, and it's not pretty. So I wanted to avoid that, and the best way for me to do that is to change the diet and address the real cause of this. So that's what I'm up to. Do I ever have a cheat day? I cheat all the time. And the way I look at it is I can't go cold turkey and just not eat processed food. I still eat processed food. I still eat chocolate. But the way I look at it is I'm trying to balance it out a little bit more. I probably ate 80% processed food before. Junk food, processed food, fast food. I probably ate 80% of that and 20% whole food. So now my goal is to increase the whole food and decrease the junk food or the highly processed foods. And it's really, really difficult to do that if you're going to do, okay, if you say, I'm going to go 100% whole food and no more of the processed food, that's next to impossible for most people, especially for me. I have a huge sweet tooth. But I think now I'm probably around 50-50, and that can make a huge difference. If you're doing 50% of the processed foods and 50% of the whole foods, and it depends on where you're coming from. It really depends on where you're coming from. If you eat mostly junk food, then like I was doing, and you come down and you start to include more of the whole foods, you're going to see a big difference, and most people do. So I always say if you can't do it entirely, there's other things you can do. You can supplement with different things as well too. Apple cider vinegar is probably the best bang for your buck. If you know you're going to have something high in carbohydrates or refined carbohydrates, junky food like that, take a tablespoon or two of apple cider vinegar in about 10 ounces of water, 8 to 10 ounces of water, and drink that before you eat the junk. And that can help to minimize that blood sugar spike by about 30%. And I've tested that several times, and it works every time for me. Of course, individual results will vary for you, but it's got great science behind it. It's the acetic acid in there that's helping to minimize that blood sugar spike. So give it a try. It's the most cost-effective way to address things as far as supplements go. It's not going to fix everything, but it's going to minimize that blood sugar spike. And 30% is a lot. You know, if it can bring that spike down by 30%, it's only pennies to do it as well too. Apple cider vinegar works really well. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, let's see. I cut out all processed food and lost 30 pounds in 4 months. Star, yeah, that's amazing. Star Blue. That is really cool. And I found that to be true as well. It's the processed food, guys, that's really doing this. Out of all the diets that are out there, and there's a bunch of different diets that people swear by, there's some really extreme ones like the carnivore diet where they're only eating meat. There's the all vegan diet, no processed foods, only vegan whole foods. And then there's mixtures, there's Mediterranean diets. All of these diets can render good results when it comes to dealing with blood sugar management or your metabolic health. All of them have one thing in common. All the ones that work well have one thing in common. And that one thing is to reduce the amount of highly refined processed food that you're eating and increase the whole food. That's the common denominator. So when you do that, you're really doing your body good. I find that it's very difficult to do that if you're eating out a lot. And I live downtown Toronto, and it's really convenient and easy to go out for fast food. And I stopped doing that, or at least I reduced it significantly over the last couple of months. And that's gone a long way in me being able to manage what type of food goes into my body. So I'm preparing food at home here, and it's a lot cheaper, and I'm getting whole foods. I know what's going into the foods. It's teaching me how to cook. So there's a lot of benefits that are coming from it. But guys, whole foods are the name of the game. If you learn one thing from my channel, it's to eat whole foods. That's it. That's the name of the game. Try to drink alcohol and see the results, please. I've done alcohol, I've done beer, I've done red wine, I've done whiskey, I've done champagne. So check those out on my page. Interestingly enough, like these spirit drinks that are like whiskey or tequila and stuff like that, depending on your metabolic baseline, where you are metabolically, your age and different things, alcohol can actually bring your blood sugar levels down. But the sugary alcohols like mixed drinks and things like that, the sugar offsets that effect and it can actually raise your blood sugar. Always test, guys. That's the name of the game, especially if you're type 2 diabetic. If you have type 2 diabetes in your family, or your doctor tells you you're a pre-diabetic, or you have, or even type 2 diabetic, now's the time to start watching your blood sugar, because this disease takes hold over decades. It can take 20, 15 years for it to develop. This doesn't happen overnight. So as soon as you start feeling these symptoms of low energy, all of these different symptoms that come along with it, now's the time to start monitoring your blood sugar and to see what you're actually doing to yourself. And a continuous glucose monitor like the one I'm wearing is really the best way to go. That's what I started doing, and it's been a real game changer for me. It just takes the guesswork out of everything. Do you smoke cigarettes? I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke anything. I think if you do, that's probably the best lever that you can pull to get your health back, is to stop smoking. I would stop smoking, or do everything that you can to stop smoking. Remember, the addictive part of cigarettes is nicotine, and if you want to, you can take nicotine patches or gum or the sprays. The nicotine is not as bad as the other junk that's in these cigarettes. So if you need to wean off cigarettes, try these nicotine supplements, and they work for a lot of people. You still get that nicotine fix, and believe it or not, there's some advantages to taking nicotine with regard to your cognitive health as well too. But I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, but just look into that. If you're smoking, try to stop. Even vaping is really, really bad. It takes years off your life, and it takes years off the quality of your life. Stop smoking, yeah. Do I have a website? Guys, I'm working on a website, and it should be up in a few, or maybe a month. So what I did was, people are always asking me if I did this food or that food, and it's hard to look it up on these platforms. So I'm building a website where you can search all of my videos and to see which one, like you want to know what eggs do. You type in eggs and all my egg videos will come up. That's coming out soon, and I'll put a link in my bio for that when it does. Intermittent fasting. First meal at noon for me. Yes, me too. That's another big game changer. And it's easy to do, and it's free, and that's the stuff I like. It's got to be easy, it's got to be inexpensive, and it's got to be effective. Those are my 3 things that I like to do. And intermittent fasting is one of them. And it's good for a number of reasons. There's a lot of science on it, and autophagy is, there's a lot of information on that online. But what it does for a lot of people is by minimizing that window that you're eating food in, that first can reduce the amount of calories, but it also reduces the amount of time that your blood sugar is going up and down. So that has a great effect. That has a positive effect on your health. Okay. Indian food. Yeah, I get a lot of requests for Indian food, and here's the issue with prepared meals. The problem with testing these prepared meals, and I could do it, and I will, but the problem is that each recipe is so different. Like, you go to one restaurant and order something, it can be vastly different from another restaurant, just with the type of ingredients that they put in here, they put in each dish. So that's why I like to test individual foods. I can see what's going on with an isolated food, and then from there I can say, okay, I want to minimize the amount of this that I'm having in. when you're doing recipes, you don't really know what the culprits are with regard to blood sugar spikes. But I will test certain foods coming up. I've done a lot of fast food because they're pretty standardized. Like a McDonald's cheeseburger is the same calorie breakdown and macronutrient breakdown across the board, so it's easy. Yes, which CGM? Plus, where do you get the cover? Where do you get cover to be able to shower? This CGM is Signos. This is the company that I have an affiliate program with, and this cover comes with it, and it sticks on there. They give you these with it as well too. Also, for this month only, this is Black Friday month, so they have 25% off on the glucose monitor, which there's a link in my bio if you want to get it, and that's for this whole month. And 25% off is the highest discount that I've ever seen. Normally it's 15% if you buy it through my link, but now it's 25% for the rest of the month. So if you're interested in getting one, now's a good time to get it because it never goes down to 25%. It's normally only 15. Sometimes they do 20, but 25 is good. The great thing about it is you keep it on, you put it on, and this sends a signal to my cell phone, and it tells me my blood sugar every 5 minutes. So I know exactly what's going on. That graph that you see on all the tests that I have, I know exactly what's going on all day long, even through the night. So if I eat junk food late at night, I'll see what my blood sugar does all through the night when I wake up in the morning. The information that you get from that is a game changer because it really shows you exactly what's going on with your blood sugar, and it takes that, that guesswork out of it. And for me, it's changed my life significantly. Yeah, they're expensive, and I said to myself, you know what? If this gets my energy back and my productivity back, it's going to be worth it, and it does, and it's worth it for me. Like, I got my life back when I started monitoring my blood sugar. So yeah, check out the link in bio. There's 25% off if you want it. Can you get the covers on Amazon? I don't know if you can. I know that with this one, with the Signos, they send them to you as well. Oat milk. I'm gonna do oat milk. I just did almond milk a couple of days ago, and I did the almond milk unsweetened, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do the sweetened almond milk, and then I'm gonna go through the other milks. I'm gonna do like oat milk. I'm gonna do all the other milk alternatives to see which ones are good. And there's usually two versions of them. There's usually a sweetened version and an unsweetened version. The unsweetened versions taste terrible. But they don't spike as much as the sweetened ones do. But I'm gonna try and do all the popular brands. Those are coming up. Does a hot shower affect blood sugar? For me, it doesn't. I've been in a sauna. But remember, there are over 50 factors involved with blood sugar. So one of them is, there's a lot of different ones. It's the food you eat, it's how old you are, it's your metabolic health, it's if you're sick or not, how much sleep you've had, hydration plays. There are over 50 factors involved. So it's hard to pin down what's doing what, but I have been in a sauna several times and it didn't seem to affect my blood sugar that much at all. Which company? This is Signos, and there's a link in my bio. So check it out. If you buy it through the link in my bio, there's a 25% discount right now, which is the best discount they've ever done. They never go beyond 25%. So if you do want to check it out. Can I get this CGM in Canada? Do you need a prescription? Unfortunately, you can't get it in Canada at the moment, but they are they're working on that, and they'll be able to do that soon. And when you do get it in the United States, you don't need a prescription because they have doctors on staff that will write that prescription for you. It's pretty seamless. You just go online, you fill out a little form, and they approve it right away for you. So it's really easy to get. Technically, you do need a prescription in the United States for it, but they take care of all of that for you. What's the best way to keep your blood sugar low? There are several things that you can do. Number one is the food that you eat. Number 2 is exercise. Number 3 is probably sleep or stress management. It's probably stress management, then sleep. And then the other lever that you can pull is you can do medications or supplements. But the best bang for your buck is to change your diet. And again, I'll say it again, and I sound like a broken record, but this has the most significant impact on your blood sugar by far for most people. And that is to reduce the amount of highly processed, especially carbohydrates that you eat, this junky processed food that you eat, all this packaged food, sweet treats and all that stuff. Decrease that and increase your whole food consumption. These are whole foods, whole vegetables and fruits. Try to stick with berries and low sugar fruits and vegetables. Above ground vegetables are typically better than the root vegetables because they're lower in starches. They're high in fiber and nutrients. Cruciferous vegetables are at the top of the list. These are things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, even arugula. I love arugula salad, and it's really good for your blood sugar. Green leafy vegetables, if you're not eating them, try to include them into your diet. You're going to feel a lot better, and it's going to help with your insulin resistance as well, and that'll help with your blood sugar. Okay. No sticking yourself. No, when you have these glucose monitors, this is a continuous glucose monitor, and it's on my arm, and it sends a signal to my cell phone, and there's an app on my cell phone that comes with it, and it plots everything on a graph so you can see exactly what's going on with your blood sugar 24/7. You don't have to prick your fingers all the time, and that's the beauty of it. And you know, with a finger stick like that, you get one snapshot in time. And I've done that before. I've done the finger stick test, and it's like, I don't like it. I know a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't hurt, but for me, I never really liked it. It's uncomfortable. And it's one moment in time. With a continuous glucose monitor like this one, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have a constant reading of your blood sugar throughout the day. You know exactly what's going on, so you never miss a beat on it. It's really cool. Okay. Do I take any meds? No, I don't, because I don't have diabetes. I have type 2 diabetes in my family. It's quite prevalent in my family, and I'm trying to avoid it. I started getting symptoms of insulin resistance when I was in probably 49, a few years back. And I said, it's time for me to do something because I know it runs in my family. I even took one of those DNA tests, and it told me that I had a high likelihood of getting type 2 diabetes because of my genetics. And I said, okay, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to take care of it because it's much easier to prevent something than it is to bring yourself back. Don't get me wrong, you can still bring yourself back. I've seen a ton of people come back from type 2 diabetes by changing their diet and exercising. So lifestyle can have a huge impact on that as well. Okay, let's see what else we have. Do you own a juicing machine? I do. I have an Angel juicer, which is one of the top of the line juicers. I haven't used it in a while because it's so time consuming to use, but I will do a series on freshly squeezed, cold pressed juices from fruits and vegetables. That is on my list of things to do in the future. I know that these drinks are really good for you if you do them right. You don't want to do the high sugar fruits. You want to do the nutrient dense, low sugar fruits and vegetables like the leafy greens and stuff like that. And I used to do it a lot, and then I let it go because it was too hard to do, but I will break that out and start testing those. I promise. That's in the future. That's coming. Is there a small needle in the glucose monitor? So it's not a needle. What it is, I used to think that, and that was my fear. I didn't want to get one when I first saw them, and I said, I'm not going to get this because it's probably a needle that's sticking in your arm, and every time you move your arm, it's going to hurt. That's not the case. What it is, it's actually a little filament. It's very, very tiny. You can barely see it when you take it out. And it's like about the size of a hair, and it's flexible, and it moves with you, and it just sits underneath the skin, and it's testing your interstitial fluid. and that sends that information to your cell phone, so it doesn't hurt at all. That was my concern, and it doesn't hurt. Okay. What's a normal blood sugar range? Well, it's different for everybody. I like to look at my my A1C, and your A1C is a blood test. Your doctor will give it to you if he's concerned about your blood sugar, and that's basically your average blood sugar level over a 3-month period, about a 3-month period. And when you look at that, you want to be in the 5s. You want to be low 5s. Once you started getting up past the mid 5s, you're in pre-diabetic stage. And if you get over 6, you're considered to be type 2 diabetic. So you want to stay in the low 5s. However, it is normal for people, even if you don't have diabetes, to have blood sugar spikes if you're eating high carbohydrate foods. What you want to look for, however, is if those blood sugar spikes go up too high or if they last too long. If they're arcing really long time and they're elevated very high for a long period of time, that's a bad sign. Healthy people with healthy metabolisms, when they do spike, their blood sugar goes up, not too high, and then it comes down right away. And the only way you're going to know if that's actually happening to you is if you monitor with a continuous glucose monitor. That's what the beauty of this is telling you what's trending with your blood sugar. Not just, okay, what this meal did. It shows you the trend over a long period of time. And when you log the food that you eat as you're eating, in the app you can punch in, okay, I'm eating this right now. And it has AI in it, and it'll tell you which foods are causing these issues for you. And you'll be able to see that right away, which is really cool. Do you have to fast before an A1C blood test? No, you don't. Because it's looking for markers in your blood that determine a 3-month period. So your average blood sugar over a 3-month period. If you're taking a fasting insulin test, you do have to fast before that. Since Signos is not available in Canada, which CGM do you recommend for now? Go to Costco if you have a Costco by you, and there's a Libre, Lifestyle Libre. You can get it there, and it's pretty cheap there. That's a good alternative. I always say get any CGM that you can. That one's good too, but I don't like the interface as well. You're not getting all of the stuff that you get with the Signos. It's a little harder to interpret, but it will give you the data. So check that out at Costco if you can't get the Signos. And once again, if you are interested in the one that I use here, there's 25% off right now for Black Friday, and that's good till the end of the month. So if you are going to get it, that's the cheapest it'll ever be. They never go beyond the 25%. Okay. I stopped bread and sugar and got better. Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of a lot of people's diet. Bread is everywhere. Bread and pasta and sugar. I've eaten a ton of it in my lifetime, and if you can eliminate that, you're going a long way to help yourself. Yes, so it does link to your phone. This continuous glucose monitor by Signos has an app that you download. The app is free. It comes with your subscription. And this links automatically to that app on your phone, and it records all of your data. So you have all of that in the app, and it shows you exactly what's going on. It'll alert you when your blood sugar is spiking. So if you eat some high carbohydrate processed foods and you're spiking, it'll tell you. And the good part about that is that you can actually do something about it. You can go for a walk, do something to bring that blood sugar spike down. So that's the good part about it. Ezekiel bread. I did Ezekiel bread, and it's on my page. If you're going to eat bread, I think that's the best bet. That's the best way to go. It's the least processed, and it has a minimal impact. It's low on the glycemic index. It's pretty good. If you need to eat bread, the only problem with the Ezekiel bread here in Canada, I went to go and buy some. It's $11 for a loaf of bread. Unbelievable, but it is good. It's $11 for a loaf. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'll end with this, though. Remember, if you're worried about your blood sugar, if you have type 2 diabetes and you're worried about it, the best thing you can do is cut back on this highly refined processed food. These carbohydrates are really, really bad. And increase your high fiber vegetable consumption, especially the cruciferous vegetables, have a really good impact on your metabolic health. Have enough protein with your first meal and high fiber, and that will help you to stay satiated for the rest of the day. Even though it's only your first meal, that can eliminate cravings for the rest of the day. After you've been asleep and you're essentially fasted, that first meal that you have sets the tone for the rest of the day. So have high fiber vegetables that are low in sugar and a decent amount of protein, and watch how you feel after a week or two of that, and it's really going to help. So do that. Also, start walking if you're not exercising. Try to do some weight training and some light cardio 3 times a week, each of those. 3 times of weightlifting and 3 times a week of the moderate cardiovascular work, whether that's brisk walking, go to the gym, ride a bike, whatever it is. Even doing housework, especially after you've eaten. Do your house chores after your biggest meal, but don't go and sit on the couch after your biggest meal. That's the worst thing you can do, because your blood sugar that's circulating through your bloodstream doesn't have as much of an opportunity to burn off as if it doesn't have as much of an opportunity to burn itself off that way. So activity after eating is really, really effective. Go for a brisk walk, bring your blood sugar down. That's good as well too. If you're not monitoring your blood sugar and you have type 2 diabetes in your family, or your doctor has told you that you're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, or even if you just want to optimize your health and start feeling better, getting your energy back and your drive back, managing your blood sugar is really, really important to do that. And if you don't know what is going on with your blood sugar, monitoring that blood sugar is a really good way to do that. And I do that with the Signos glucose monitor. There's a link in my bio for 25% off right now all month through that link. It's a Black Friday special. And that's the lowest that this monitor ever goes. It normally is only discounted to 15%, but right now it's at 25%. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I've got over 2,400,000 followers now across the 4 platforms right now, and I didn't realize that this content would get that much traction. And you guys keep me going a lot, and it's really, really good to see that people are concerned and that they're taking their health into their own hands. And that's the mindset that I'm trying to adopt myself, is to be more responsible for my own health. And when you do that, and you stop giving just giving your life away to corporations in the medical system that may not be geared towards optimizing your health, they're just kind of trying to keep people from dying and treating symptoms. That for me isn't good enough, and I want to be optimal. I want to live an optimal life. So that's what I'm up to here. And I'm so happy to see that other people are concerned with that as well too, and they want to do it. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And I've got some really cool stuff coming up. I want to start expanding my content a little bit more than just these food spike tests. So I want to do some other stuff that I've got coming up too. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all very soon.